Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of 4-Wheel Drive is Life. In this episode, we brought out the two-door Wrangler Rubicon against our Tundra to our local off-road park at Famous Reading Outdoors. We'll show you how each rig performs on a steep rocky incline, and we'll compare the suspension flexing in a real-world situation. I understand some of you commented on my previous video saying that this is not apples to apples comparison. I agree, but I just want to point out that the intent was not to show who is better, but to show what is the difference when putting different rigs in the same challenge. I believe there's value in visualizing and showcasing the difference in the real-world scenarios. And without further ado, let's get started. We're standing in front of that large rock step to give you a better perspective of what kind of hill we're dealing with. According to the Jeep JL's inclinometer, the angle of incline is shown to be 27 degrees at the rock. The first challenge is the same rocky hill climb we used to compare Power Wagon versus Tundra. I plan to use this steep rocky hill for most of our comparison video in the future. The sizable loose rock is a good test of how well the vehicle's traction control works. Then the big rock step is a good place to test the approach, departure, and breakover angle. To make it more interesting, we had the Rubicon in 4 low but did not engage lockers nor sway bar disconnect. This provides a better picture comparing to Tundra with 4 low and ATRAC. With the lockers being turned off, you can see the Jeep slide sideways at the rock step, where the driver immediately cut off the throttle because he was afraid it was going to tip over. So he backed up and reattempted. This time, the Jeep's BLD, aka brake lock differential, kicked in. You can see that it started moving right away without a lot of tire spin. BLD is the Jeep's version of ATRAC. However, I believe the BLD kicks in much more smooth and early than the Toyota's ATRAC does. Next up, we have my stock Tundra going up the same climb. Just kidding. My Tundra is slightly lifted and on 35s. I know some of you mentioned to keep the momentum going. Well, I definitely agree. However, if you see how little gap and clearance I have between my frame and other components of the truck and the ground or rocks, any amount of sending it or even a wrong line will cause some serious damage of the body part or the vital components of the truck. So in here, I knew my tires were losing traction and at least 2 diagonal ones are spinning freely. Since it's a relatively new platform for me, coming from a 4Runner, I was trying to find out how ATRAC works on a Tundra platform. Once I give it enough gas and the engine goes over 1200 RPMs, the ATRAC kicked in and the car launched forward. Let's watch this climb again from a different angle. From this angle, I can finally see where that scraping noise are coming from. Just watch. Hope my exhaust components are still good after that hit. As seen initially, the tires just spins and spins with no brake being applied to that tire. Then I remembered for Tundra, people saying it may take up to 1200 RPM for the ATRAC to kick in. So I slowly gave it gas and you can see that it worked. Okay, now let's see how the most capable stock form vehicle will do against this challenge. This Rubicon is now fully locked and sway bar is disconnected. 4 letters. B-O-R-I-N-G. Wait, that's not 4 letters. Scratch that. E-A-S-Y. That's it. Easy. Just to show off its stock form capability, he's driving it down this hill. I don't know about you, but I definitely feel like it's harder to go down on this kind of rocky hills because gravity will tend to pull your vehicle into rocks. Please let me know, what do you think is harder, going up or down a rocky hill, in the comment area below. This is that same descent with a different camera angle. If you've made it this far, I assume you like this kind of content. And if you'd like to see more real-world comparisons like this, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel and please hit that like button so more people can see this awesome content. Next, we're going to use this huge ditch to showcase the difference in suspension flexing between Tundra and Wrangler. In the first camera angle, since Tundra is too long, I was not able to capture the entire truck as I intended from the beginning to the end, so please bear with me. There's a second angle of this video. As you can see, I was doing this pretty cautiously because when I was actually driving it, it felt way worse than what you're seeing here. I felt like my front approach angle and the departure angle was not enough to clear without any scraping, which was the case. You will see that I hit my exhaust tip again. Here's the second angle. I believe this is a much better representation of the size of the ditch. As you can see there, the slider definitely almost came in contact with the ground. Suspension flexing and 2 wheels in the air. And once you see the vehicle is jittering, that means the ATRAC is kicking in and help the vehicle moving forward, and there I hit my rear exhaust tip. Now let's see how the Wrangler JL 2-door does. This first run is in 4 low, sway bar not disconnected, no lockers engaged. Even with the solid front axle, the flex was still no match to the ditch, and the rear left tire was slightly lifted, and BLD kicked in very smoothly. Then we ran the same line again with sway bar disconnected. And wow, all 4 wheels stayed planted. No lockers even needed because there was no wheels in the air. Lastly, I'm going to include these footages of both rigs crossing this dried up ravine. Both rigs made it through pretty easily. Just wanted to show you how the suspension flexes and performs under different terrains. I'm going to show you some clips of the sceneries of the famous riding outdoors. It's about an hour and a half or 2 hours away from Philadelphia, and it's around the peak season for foliage right now, so everything's turning colors and looks awesome. I like this place a lot because it opens during the week as well. and it does not require a 2-car minimum policy to enter the park. You can pretty much go in anytime you want, and with a membership, and you have all the lands, terrains to yourself. Alright, that's all the comparisons we have for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.